Hi, so I'm Yanka from the Excellent Woman blog, and this video is for the moms, especially one who we've been missing each other, and so for the ones who had questions about homeschooling. So I've been homeschooling for about 5 years now, and during that time, I've learned a lot about what works for my family. And what I did was start from what my vision of how my children should be, or what the finished product or the goal is for when they leave this home. Functioning adults, responsible citizens, and able to hear from the father. Those are my main goals for my kids. So, I have these goals for what I want them to know when they leave, how they should be trained, and then I work back from there. But I started, I think, like a lot of homeschooling families start um, with curriculums and things, and then just recently I got away from that, and I've actually never been. We've never followed one curriculum. I think we've been more eclectic, and let me just explain that a little bit. There are about maybe about 10 different homeschooling styles. So you have like the traditional style, and you just have to kind of figure out what works best for you and your family. So, like I said, that's traditional where um, you have like school at home. So you take your kid out the school setting, put them at home, but they're still learning the same thing, same subjects and all that. Then there's road schooling, where people like pack up their kids, they travel the states, for a year, however long, and their curriculum is built around the things that they're experiencing and learning. There's unschooling. There's secular unschooling, where it's child led, and the parents kind of go with whatever it is that the child wants to learn or they enjoy or whatever. But I like to call us life learners or God led unschoolers, because I'm following the voice of God for my children, and I'm watching for their interests and like that, stuff like that as well. There's world schooling, where there's people take their family, or families travel internationally, and they get more of a cultural experiences by visiting, the different places that they go to. There's Montessori, which I actually liked, and we've done some that and actually still do, where that you prepare some material beforehand, but the child gets to choose what it is that they want to do. So, in I've been through Montessori teacher training, because I did work at a Montessori school years and years ago, but I always did like that style. There's the Waldorf homeschooling, where that's about training the whole person, not necessarily separating the subjects. There's Charlotte Mason, classical homeschooling. Uh, I think that's pretty much it. But like I said, there's all these different styles, and lots of families, use different styles, and so you have to find what works for you. Like I said, I've never bought a curriculum, never purchased one. They can be anywhere from free to about $800. So I think I started out with Easy Peasy online, and like I still have that. Like my boys did some of that, and my girl. So this is the printout. I don't know if you see that, the printout of the workbook online. And that's the good thing about it. Like, you can print the pages out, or they can go online and do this, or it actually complements the online segment of it. And so that was the good one. This was the preschool one, but she has it set up, or the family has it set up, where you can order the what do you call that? The little spirals. I can't think of them right now, but you can order bounded book, and they'll send a workbook to you for, I don't know how much it costs, but or you can just print yourself, which is what I did. And I did that. Like, one of my sons was doing the, let me see, can you see that? So that was a language arts, and what I did, like, I think I started him with the what is that? I want to say the bold and beautiful, the good and the beautiful, but I found that to be absolutely boring, 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 boring. Some people loved it, and love it and swear by it. And like I said, every family is different. So if that is yours, you find that that's your style and you love it, you go for it. But that's their, I think the literature level one is free, and I have the whole course, but it's a big, thick book. But actually, what I did was ended up mixing the two, so I didn't follow anybody's style, the recommendation, or whatever. Like if I was working on one thing, then I might use a worksheet from there, one from here, or we play a game or something. And I always try to find a fun way to learn, because I find that my kids tend to retain stuff when it's actually fun. So and like I said, I found myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so boring, I cannot do this. And so we got away from that, and I don't do that. And for my daughter, she did she did the whole preschool level, or beginner level, whatever it's called. But she also started with the Bob books, and I have this whole series. My oldest boy did the whole series, and my 4-year-old, she's started set one, and that's only because I was gonna push her, because I think kids, they love to play, let them play. Well, when they want to learn to do something, they'll ask about it. And so she started asking about reading the books, and I was putting it off, but she was so persistent, so she started reading the books. But again, that's her style. My second son, he was not so much interested in the books. He was getting bored and was taking longer, and I was like, oh Bob, I cannot do this. But what I found is that if we made a book, or actually we made a couple of books for him, and he loved, I mean absolutely loved reading these books. So that's what we do, we make books for him. And so this one that I have right here was from my family vacation back in November. And then I had another one, it was called The Book About Judah, and he loved it, and he read it, so I couldn't stop him from reading it. So that's, again, finding what interests your child, because he wasn't not interested in Matt and Sam and whoever else. That just was not his cup of tea. So we figured that out. And my oldest son, he loves math, so I do have worksheets for him, but that's not the only thing he does. Like he'll put out. I do have workbooks, and he'll pull out one and just work in it because he wants to. I just have him there. It's not required. Like what I was doing with them is, they'll have about 3 worksheets of something that we were working on. So it may be a math, a language arts, and a sign or something, handwriting or something like that. And it wasn't overwhelming, and they enjoyed doing it. So I was always watching to see the things they like. He just pulled out his folder. We haven't even touched folders like all summer, because I try to do more hands-on and live learning. And like yesterday we were catching grasshoppers and reading about that, and so that was fun for them. But he did pull out his folder, because I do have a folder where I keep their worksheets if they do want to do that. He pulled out and just started working on it because he wanted to do that. So just having that stuff available to them, and they can pick and choose what it is. And like I said, I have never purchased a curriculum. You can homeschool for free, curriculum price, but you do put the cost of taking them to the museums and stuff like that, which if that's the thing that they want, or if if exploring outside is your child's cup of tea, go for it. And like I pick up these little books from the dollar store, and they like doing it. Especially my 4-year-old girl, she loves little workbooks and things. I buy them, just I put them on the shelf, and she can do them at her leisure. And I found with her, because I used to give her little assignments, and it's quite natural that she wanted to do things because her older brothers were doing things, but she was doing more. Like she could sit here and she would work through the entire workbook. I mean, there was no stopping her. Once she gets her mind to do something, she's going to do it. But you're finding what it is that works for your child. And so this is probably my only curriculum book. And this thing is great for a bunch of different lessons for character building, for learning how to hear the voice of God. It's good for everything. So we use that one like daily, listening or reading stories, listening to stories, having discussions. And so we don't I don't make my kids sit down and write stuff, but I find that they like writing in letters to our like neighbors and to my mom, and drawing pictures. So that's life experience. And they did like they had this month they did the lemonade stand. So that's math. That was planning. It was so much about wrapped up into that. And so they were calculating things as customers came and bought their different things. So that's live experience. And I just believe that with live learning experiences, those are things they retain. So they're not just learning this thing for a test or whatever, but they're retaining this information, and they see how it's used in life and in the real world. So when they leave here, that's something they're going to always have. And I don't try to separate school from life, because or learning from life, because you're always learning. So it's an integration. And so we have, when I first started, we used to have a schedule, I get up early, blah, 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 but not anymore. It's just like we flow, there's a flow. We do certain things we do every day, just flow with the day. And a lot of things we do, playing games, because they're going to retain. I just got this passed on from a teacher. It's a phonics game. So that's cool. But a lot of the stuff you have at home, they can use the dominoes. This is good for addition and subtraction. They have to have money games, of course. Somebody gave me this as well. Okay, there we go. So money, multiplication, division. My oldest one is starting this year. But what I find too, I try to go with the interest of my kids. And one may not show interest at first, but I find that, like, especially with my boys, they're the older two, so they're 6 and 7, and the 6-year-old, he retains a lot. Like, he's a very active kid. He's a hands-on learner. He doesn't like to sit, so he's always building things and making little trinkets or moving his body, and that's just how he is. But the guy is a brilliant little guy, and he retains everything, and that's what I love about him. So I'm like, what, rock on. As long as you know what you know, it's all good to me. And my 4-year-old, she loves puzzles. Like, this girl is a puzzle genius. So my husband brought home all these. This is a 240-piece puzzle. So we'll be working on this. And the thing is, like, we get started on them, and like we all work together, because that's another thing I love doing puzzles. And it's important to share with your kids the things that you enjoy, because there's a life in that, and the excitement and the energy, and they pick that up and they want it too. I am all about anatomy, physiology, science, the planets and all that stuff. So they see my enthusiasm for it, and they want to learn about it. So we like pouring through these types of books. This is one of my favorite books too. And we're looking through the different systems. I have all kinds of books like this, but they have an enthusiasm for it, because I do. And so make sure you are sharing that with your kid, whatever you are enthused about, share it with them. I love the science behind creation. There's a lot taught in evolution, so I try to teach them, this is the biblical perspective, and this is the secular perspective, but you understand it too, right? So you'll understand. And what does the scripture say about this as opposed to this? So give them a good foundation. There are, every state has laws regarding homeschooling. Some are more strict than others, so it depends on your state. But I do recommend that you go on the HSLDA site, and I'll link that below so you'll know, and you can look up by state or your state to see what your homeschooling requirements are. But what I do to keep track of my kids learning and what they learn is I just journal. I journal every day. Every day I journal, and you can see the And I also take a lot of pictures too, just in case I forget. And I can always say, oh yeah, we did that this day. But I journal and I take pictures, and that way I know, okay, we did this. This is what we learned. You know, I write it out, and it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. But you know, this is what this kid did today. This is what this kid, or this is what we all did today. You know, and how that fits within whatever your state requirement is. What else can I tell you regarding homeschooling? Oh, um, so there are apps that my kids use to ABC is a big one, and we like PBS Kids. So they, you know, it's more than one way to learn. So they like my son just came up here not well a little while ago, and he was showing me like the things that he finds on YouTube that draws his interest is amazing. This guy built this machine, um, this marble machine, so it played instruments, it made music with 2,000 marbles. And so you see him cranking this machine around, and making piano sound. Ding, 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 ding. Then you have the guitar and the drums. You saw the snare and the bass, and it was just the most amazing thing. And my son, he was telling me this like for a couple hours. He's like, "Mommy, look at this video." And I was like, "You know what? When I'm done," I said, "Let me finish getting, you know, this done, and then I'm gonna sit down and look at it." And then as soon as I came up here and I said, he said, "Mommy, look at this video." But that's his interest. Can we do this? Because he asked me a couple of days ago, "Mommy, can you build me a lab?" Because I want to create things. So I'm like, well, yeah. We're renovating the house anyway, so I have to figure out a space to put a lab in, but we're gonna do it. And he loves building things. Him and his brother both, they love to build. My oldest one loved to, you know, look at the, what do you call those architectural drawings. So he's into that right now. And so they all, and the girls are into, my oldest one, the facts about geography, just any kind of fact she knows, and she comes and tells me her papa about it. So, and she still likes bubble guppies, and she likes Sid the Science Kid. And then that little one, she likes Blippi. That's her cartoon. So it's, the thing of the matter is that everything that your child learns is not coming directly from you. So they're gonna know things and learn things that you did not teach them. And the thing is, you know, you look at your child and you are interacting with them, see the brilliance that's in them, and try to see through their set of eyes, because you've been here for 20 or more years, but they haven't. You know, they're in my case, I have. I'm seeing or trying to see the world through a 2-year-old's eyes, a 4-year-old's eyes, a 6-year-old's eyes, and a 7-year-old eye, and they're seeing these different things, you know, in a different way, and things that we look over, it's new to them, and I try to be in that experience with them. And you know, experience, I think, is a great thing for kids. You know, give them the experience, whatever experience you can. Simple things. We go walking every day. Every day we go walking or bike riding, we exploring, we getting off the bikes to look at this little critter or that little grasshopper. Right now it's about the grasshoppers, there's a ton of them out, and we were watering the garden, and or our neighbor, we have 2 neighbors, so we're watering their gardens, because one, she's out of town, and she was overseeing the other garden too, because she planted it for the other neighbor, so we're kind of keeping it while she's out of town for the 2 weeks. So we've been seeing little crickets and all these little critters, the bees and all that there, and it's just been like the most interesting thing. So the kids like love that. But like I said, just, you know, going to the park. My kids love climbing trees. They'll climb on the playground equipment, but they always go to the trees as well. And I see even my little one, she climbs, and you know, you watch them, they're figuring out how to get from this. It's a problem solving thing, from this branch to this, and how do I get up there. So everything they do is an experience, and they're learning, and they're recording things, and they're figuring things out. They're working through things. So everything that you and your children do is a learning experience, and don't forget it. It's not just, you know, sitting down with your little papers and worksheets and stuff. Those things count as learning too, so don't discount that. And do never feel bad if, oh boy, I didn't, you know, do this today, or I didn't follow this plan. Guess what? Your child still learned. And I learned that when I had, I think, my last kid, my 4th one, and we took off about 3 months. But that it was not a learning gap because they were still learning. And that's what's the most amazing thing. Kids, they never stop learning. Just like you don't, they never stop learning. So, Amanda and any other mom who's considering homeschooling, I hope this helps. It's not a stressful thing, and that's one thing I learned as well, that you know what, when you're doing things that you know is right for you and your family, it shouldn't be a stressful thing. I do not stress myself out over anything. Nothing. Like I said, I keep the processes simple. We have a flow through the day. So, we eat breakfast, you do hygiene, you clean your room, we sit and, read and talk. We go outside and play. We do a lot of playing actually. Go outside or go to the beach, go to the park, wherever, do that. We have dinner. There's free time, you can watch whatever, do whatever. And that's another thing, I don't limit screen time because I have found that my kids, I don't need to do that because they watch whatever and they put it down, they go do something else, and they built this thing, did that, or whatever. So that's not anything that I'm very concerned about at all, or I'm concerned about at all. So, like I said, I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any more questions, do feel free to email or text me or call, and I will try to connect some way. So have a great evening or day, depending on when this video gets uploaded, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.